Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, did this yesterday, couldn't upload it. So, I had to ask. So I'm going to do it now. We got some news, some legend news with Manny Pacquiao, right? Manny Pacquiao, 8th division champ, legend, in the sport of boxing. Manny Pacquiao has been off for a couple of years, due to the pandemic and other things. So, World Boxing News, who I was did something about 3 or 4 days ago, pertaining to Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. World Boxing News has decided they're not going to recognize the WBA anymore as a sanctioning body, right? And the last straw is because Manny Pacquiao has been stripped of his WBA title because of inactivity, and that was the last straw. Combined with the fact that Bermane Stavern, heavyweight champion, he was WBC heavyweight champion after 2 wins over Chris Arreola. People forget that about him. Then he had a huge drop off. But Bermane Stavern was elevated in the top 15 in order to fight Trevor Bryan instead of the regular champion Mahmoud Char. So there was a discrepancy going there. There was a visa problem there with Mahmoud Char coming from Cologne, Germany, over there to I forget where they were fighting, somewhere in America. So what has happened is that discrepancy, Bermane Stavern loses. I think he was stopped in the 11th round from Trevor Bryan. And WBN said, we are sick of these sanctioning bodies, right? And that's it. That's the last straw. You don't strip Manny Pacquiao because he's a senator, they were saying, and he was trying to do things for people in the pandemic. You don't strip him. He was off two years. Now, people like me were hoping that Manny Pacquiao got stripped, right? I think it's a good thing for boxing, for the welterweight division. Manny Pacquiao should have got stripped of the title. Manny Pacquiao fans and people that are, fans as well, just not fanatic fans like me, will tell you that Manny Pacquiao doesn't need a belt, doesn't he? He's above belts. He's a legend, 8th division champion. So he doesn't need to hold the belt hostage. And what I mean by hostage is not only because you didn't fight for a couple of years because of the pandemic. Just remember this. Everyone around him has fought a time or two, right? But the problem is who he was planning on fighting, right? He was planning on fighting Conor McGregor. And that's an MMA dude or something. That has nothing to do with boxing right now. That's more of an exhibition type of fight. That has nothing to do with his rankings. So that wouldn't have been good. Then he was trying to fight an exhibition against Ryan Garcia, who was not a champion, 2 divisions lower, and then an exhibition on top of it. Those are fights that you should do without the belt, right? And I think anybody that doesn't have some kind of, thing going on, some kind of agenda, would think that's good, because then the welterweights could fight for that championship, right? The WBA, he's not going to fight for it. And when Manny Pacquiao, they named him, by the way, a champion in recess. What they did to Vitaly Klitschko back to WBC back in the day, just in case, because Vitaly Klitschko got business to take care of in Kiev. But if he were to come back right away, then he would have been able to fight for the championship. I think that's fair. Manny Pacquiao, when he decides he wants to box again against boxers and not exhibition, then he would have a chance to fight for the championship. And I'm going to tell you what the issue is. A lot of people beat around the bush. The issue is this. It's very simple. There's 3 brothers. Somebody about to become undisputed. Yordenis Ugas was elevated to the WBA champion, which he should have been. We just saw that 2 weeks ago with Royata Murata, right? Murata doesn't have to fight nobody. He was the regular champion in the middleweight division. Canelo vacates. Murata is the champion because he was the regular champion. So boom. Same thing happens to Ugas. So boom. Right? So now you got Ugas, WBA. You got your boy Terrence Crawford, the WBO. And then you got Errol Spence with the other 2, IBF and WBC. So those 3 are brothers. One of them going to become undisputed probably soon. And that irks them. A lot of people would rather these guys fight each other, and then the WBA belt is still out there somewhere doing exhibitions and fighting MMA fighters, right? They would rather have that because one of these brothers is about to become undisputed. That's what the issue is, because it would be no other issue, and it might as well be blatant as everything else that's going around here, right? That is the problem. And then you hear And you guys know how I am. I will tell you, if you're in an auditorium and someone tells you with 300 or 400 people, somebody says, "Hey, champion, stand up." Everybody gonna stand up except you, right? There's about 10 champions in every division, and then we got 17 divisions. It's about 170 people to run around right now talking about their champions. You know we have the four major ones, the WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. What I tell you about the IBO and the IBA coming through the back door, right? They're almost really there already. Which means, what I mean by that is like somebody, if they're not the IBO champion, somebody gonna say they're not undisputed anymore. That's 6. Now, you got all of them making up other stuff. You got the WBA regular, doesn't that make 7, right? You got the global from the WBO, that's 8. You got the franchise for the WBC, and somebody got a gold. That's about 10 champions, isn't it? And all of them sound cool. If somebody's global, he gonna talk smack. Let him get a couple of drinks in him, and he's the global champion. He gonna be mad. Global. What part of globe you don't understand? I'm the baddest on the globe, right? If somebody's a gold champion, he gonna say, "Well, what? Shoot, if your lady mad at you, what you gonna do? Go buy her a globe, or you gonna go buy her some gold?" Gold is what's happening. Everybody got something to talk about. That's why it's important to have one champion. Now, all these other sanctioning bodies. Now I'm hearing that they're saying, "Yeah, WBA, we don't want you to be a sanctioning body," because basically the WBA has one champion now, right? They don't have a regular. At least in the welterweight division, they should do it throughout all divisions. But in the welterweight division, they have one champion, right? Now they're the ones. All these other divisions are acting like these other sanctioning bodies are like, "Hey man, WBA, that's ridiculous," right? Knowing is that, I'll give you an example of the IBF. Guillermo Rigondeaux was fighting at 122, couldn't get Lomachenko to come down to 126 to meet him halfway, which would have been 124, because Guillermo Rigondeaux is actually a 118 fighter. And if you don't believe it, he's 41 years old and he's fighting at 118 right now, very comfortably, right? So he's actually 118. So they couldn't get him, so he had to go from 118 actually 130 to fight Lomachenko. Loses Lomachenko, stops in round 6 because his hand's hurting, and he should have stopped, right? And comes back down to his 122, and they took the title from him. He didn't never lose at 122. Took the title from him, so lesser fighters who don't want to fight him can fight. So IBF, suspect, right? Who else? Who else? WBO, I just told you. They got a global champion. That's not their normal champion. They got a global, right? And the WBC has done everything that corrupt in lately that is absolutely ridiculous. Somebody gets doped, well, that's somebody. Canelo gets doped, we raise the levels of clenbuterol, right? When Canelo goes to 168 to fight the WBA champion, right, at 168, the WBC just puts the WBC championship in there and just says you can have that too without having to fight for it. All right? Then the Canelo has a mandatory that's hard in Jamal Charlo. Will make a new belt called the franchise title and say no one could get it, it's not transferable. 3 months later, Lomachenko fights your boy Teofimo Lopez, and then it is transferable. And bottom line with that franchise is that brothers can't get this. Is what they just said. Charlo, you can't have it. They told him that. Devin Haney, you can't have it. They basically told him that, right? So all these sanction bodies got the nerve to be on the other side pointing at somebody. They all got a problem, right? They all got a problem. So at the bottom line is Pacquiao should have got stripped of the damn title, and it's not really. It's just you're a champion of recess, but you ain't handling your business. When you decide to come fight again, everything's open. We open the gate for you. You're still a member. But right now, we're going to try to see what would happen with Undisputed. And all 3 of these brothers here, they're trying to do that. And you're in the way of that. Boxing should be behind this. But no, boxing is as blatant as everything else you're looking at right now. When you go outside, when you turn on the news, it's blatant, right? So this is why is boxing anything different? It's exactly what's happening. There should be no problem with Udinese being the championship. Now, I would have went one step further because of what they just did with Canelo by giving him the WBC belt for a WBA fight. I would have said, WBA, sorry, Udinese Ugas, you get the winner. But, hey, Crawford and Spence, y'all fight. We're going to put the WBA belt in there, and then your fight can be undisputed. Only stipulation would be you guys fight Ugas, and that's it. Or have Pacquiao fight Ugas. Something like that. But it doesn't matter. Bottom line is Pacquiao is stripped. 3 brothers about to fight to see if we can get undisputed in the welterweight division. And I think for the good of boxing, we should try to get undisputed because we never really do. Now the opportunity is a little bit closer. Let's see what happens. Fans seem to not like that. And you got to ask yourself, why is that? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.